Right, guys, we are 3 game weeks into the season. So we've seen a little bit of every team, but today I wanted to talk about who I think will win the Premier League Player of the Season. And I'm not talking about Players Player because the Players Player award means absolutely nothing. If Kevin De Bruyne can win it last season, then it doesn't have much credibility to it. There were only 3 players, in my opinion, who should be winning it last season. Ruben Diaz, who won the actual Player of the Season award, and fair enough, he had a great season, completely transformed Man City's defence when he came in. Harry Kane, probably the obvious pick. He was unfortunate not to win it, as he did get the most goals and assists individually and combined, obviously, last season. Or Bruno Fernandez, who I don't know how many Premier League goals he scored last season, but he nearly got 30 from midfield in all competitions for Man United, so he must have been pushing 20, if not getting 20 last season. So he has a case for it, obviously, as well. Obviously, recent winners of the awards include Wayne Rooney, Nemanja Vidic, Gareth Bale, Luis Suarez, who won it in 2011-12? Vincent Kompany, Eden Hazard, Jamie Vardy, N'Golo Kante, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Kevin De Bruyne in 1920. Now that season, he absolutely deserved it. 20 assists or 21, however many he got, is ridiculous, and he full on deserved it. And last season, Ruben Diaz won it. But this year, I've picked 4 players who I think can win it. So I'll just name them now, and then I'll go through each player why I think they can or will win it. Cristiano Ronaldo, Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandez, and Romelu Lukaku. So we'll start off with Ronaldo. Obviously, he hasn't played yet for Man United this season. He's missed the first 3 games because he was a Juventus player, or at least he wasn't until I think the Wolves game. He might have already signed for United, but obviously he had to quarantine because he's just moved into the country from Italy. But yeah, the reason I've picked him is because even at 36, he's still one of, if not the deadliest striker in the world. I'd say I'll probably just put Lewandowski over him. But still, what a player at 36. To be honest, I'm not really sure how well he'll do in the Premier League because the Premier League is a tougher league than Serie A. He still managed to notch nearly 30 goals, I think, last season. I think he got 29, which is still amazing. So I'm expecting him to hit the 20 mark this season. Now, whether or not that's enough for the Player of the Season award, who knows? But I've put him down as an option because he is the second, in my opinion, the second best player of this generation. And is an all-time great, obviously. So, yeah, that's Cristiano Ronaldo. Kevin De Bruyne, because the reason he shouldn't have won it last season, in my opinion, is mostly down to the fact that he was injured for the part of the season when Man City actually looked their best. Man City had a run of games. I think it was from when they lost to Tottenham in late November. They lost 2-0, I think they did. They had a run of games. I can't remember when it ended, but it was about 14 or 15 games. It definitely ran until at least February. And it was in all competitions as well, I think. They didn't lose. Or they didn't draw either. They won all their games. But Ilkay Gundogan was the main man in attack for Man City. It wasn't De Bruyne. De Bruyne, I think, was injured for that part of the season. But I've got De Bruyne in this because when fully fit, he is one of the best players in the league and arguably in the world. Um, and obviously, only two players have ever hit 20 assists in one season, and that is De Bruyne and Thierry Henry, I believe, which again is incredible. Um, and yeah, he's won it before in 2019-20. Won the fans one last season, even though I definitely don't. He won the players one last season, even though I definitely don't think he should have. And then my third pick, Bruno Fernandez. He's just been brilliant for United ever since he's come into the Prem in January 2020. It's a bit of a shame for him that it's only just now that he's getting to play in front of the fans, because he's been incredible for United over the past 18 months, definitely their best player. Now, the problem with Fernandez is, the reason I'll give you a spoiler now, he isn't my final pick, because he isn't my final decision over who I think is going to win it, and that's purely because a lot of his a lot of what makes him great is the fact that he gets so many goals and quite a few assists as well from midfield. Like, we're talking Frank Lampard numbers, even potentially even higher than Lampard at his peak. He got like 28 last season, I think, in all competitions. But the problem is, Fernandez, I know it's a bit of a joke that he's Penandez, but he is a very, very good player. But a lot of his goals do come from the penalty spot, and that's the truth. He's probably not going to be taking many penalties this season, because you know who is back at Man United. And I suppose you could argue for Ronaldo that if Bruno Fernandes is getting nearly 30 goals a season from midfield, and Ronaldo takes over on penalty duty, and about maybe 15 of them goals for Fernandes were penalties, about half approximately, then that's already potentially 15 goals for Ronaldo without him scoring from open play, which is incredible, really, because Ronaldo obviously is a top penalty taker as well as Bruno. And my final pick was Romelu Lukaku, because obviously right now a lot of people would say he's the best striker in the world. I wouldn't quite put him there. I'd say he's top 5 definitely. He's just joined Chelsea for 100 million. The one thing they were missing last season was a top striker. Timo Werner wasn't what they thought he was going to be. Kai Havertz took a lot of time to adapt to the Premier League. In the end, he looked quite good though towards the end of last season. I remember him having some very good performances. He obviously scored the winner in the Champions League final. I think the best performance I saw from him last season was probably away at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. But Lukaku, how he started off this season, I should also mention that Bruno Fernandez has already scored a hat-trick against Leeds United this season on the opening day. Lukaku, starting the season, has scored against Arsenal in a 2-0 win. He just bullied Pablo Mari that game. But again, it is, as I'm going to sound like Graham Souness here, it is his job to score goals. He did quite well if you look at the size comparison to Lukaku to Pablo Mari, he should be bullying Pablo Mari, really. In the Liverpool game, he had a couple of moments, really, but didn't have that much of an impact on the game. I think in the so-called battle between Virgil van Dijk and Romelu Lukaku. I think it was more Matic v Lukaku, if I'm honest, because that's what really happens at Liverpool. The opposition striker sees the partner to Virgil van Dijk as the weak link, because Virgil van Dijk is probably the best centre back in the world right now. But not obviously, a lot of people will say Sergio Ramos, but Sergio Ramos is 35, 36. So he's not the player he was. Virgil van Dijk is better right now. But obviously, seen Matip as the weak link. I thought Matip dealt with Lukaku incredibly well again. 2 weeks ago now, wasn't it? But I think he will get 20 goals this season for Chelsea. And yeah, so I think he'll have a good season, hence why I've picked him as one of my options. But I think the player of the season, for me, even though he hasn't actually played a game yet, I'm going to go with Cristiano Ronaldo, because a lot of he's just too good, isn't he? He just is. He's won the award before, twice, I think, about 12, 13 years ago now. And I think he will win it again this year, even at the age of 36. I just think he's going to score so many goals, because he is if you were designing a goal scorer in football, you'd basically design what Cristiano Ronaldo is. Very good header of the ball, ruthless finisher, never misses penalties. I suppose free kicks with Ronaldo, again, once every maybe 100 free kicks he takes, it swerves and goes top corner, like it did against Portsmouth in 2008. But these days his free kicks are quite shockingly bad. I suppose that's the only real negative of him. He doesn't press as much as he used to. Obviously his legs aren't the legs of a 23-year-old. A lot of people say he's got the body of a 27-year-old or something. That's not true. It's just not how it works. A 36-year-old is a 36-year-old, not a 26-year-old. They can't run around like they're a kid or anything. The facts are he hasn't got long left in his at the top of his game. Who knows? He could go on to play for until he's 50. But I've gone with Ronaldo. My prediction is he'll hit the 25 goal mark this season. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.